Hello, Dr. Nasser. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Mara.
Good. I've actually come in today and I really thank you for the little time I have with you because you're a very busy lady and I know you've done a lot of the Promoitalia threads and you keep doing them on men and women as well. So what I would like to discuss is some of the benefits, and from your perspective, Dr. Nasser, what would you see as the main benefits of the new absorbable threads?
Thanks, Mara, for having me today. The main benefit is the fact that they're actually absorbable, so they dissolve with time, so they usually last between 9 to 12 months, after which they dissolve, and during that time the skin forms collagen around the thread, so we do not need the thread to be there anymore, so that's we've achieved the result, so the threads then dissolve. And that's what the advantage is.
So, you know, they are suitable for men and women, aren't they?
Oh yes, of course they are. So I've done plenty of men and women.
Do you think sometimes the men might need a little bit more, a few more threads?
They do, because sometimes they have a heavier face.
Yes.
So they tend to need more threads, especially in the cheeks and the lower face as well. And we do them in the neck too. We tend to do more brow lifts in women than men, but more cheeks and brows in men.
Yeah. And, you know, also, you know, how long does the procedure take? Does it take very long?
The procedure takes about, usually an average of an hour. Depends on how many threads we use and how many areas we're going to treat. We do it with local anesthetic, and you know, and then some light sedation as well, and then the patient can go home an hour later.
Fantastic.
So it takes about a couple of hours and then they go home.
So, you know, a lot of patients get very scared about the fact that they're actually going to have some threads put in. So, you know, I'd like you to reassure them that the procedure is very simple. It's non-invasive, basically.
Exactly.
And it's a simple procedure. They don't need to be frightened.
No, exactly. So we usually, you know, we give them just light sedation, put some local anesthetic in, and then insert the threads under the skin. And that's, of course, where the technique is, because it's where you insert them and how you insert them is where the expertise is. And that's where you get the best results, is when we assess people and decide whether they're suitable or not.
Yes.
Because sometimes I could get somebody who's quite, you know, might be older and got quite fine skin, with a lot of sagging. So they might be suitable for a facelift, although I've had people who still said, you know, can we have the threads, and we put some threads in and they're happy with the result.
And it gives you more of a 3D effect, whereas the facelift gives a lot more flattening of the cheeks, and that's one of the great advantages, because they can be used in combination.
Yes, exactly. So we can do the threads. That doesn't mean they're not going to have Botox done or fillers. We actually, most of the time, I combine all of these, you know, treatments. So I could do, you know, usually it's good to start with the threads, because we can actually, the way we do the threads, create volume in the cheek. So people who usually have volume in their cheeks, or they need it, wouldn't need so much anymore, or might not need any volume.
So exactly how do they work? Because I know a lot of patients always ask this question, and you know, patients want to know how it all works, and I think it's a good thing to could you explain it to them?
So the threads have a patented design on them, technology. They're double barbed, which means that they have barbs on each side, which is how they're different from other threads. And when we insert them under the skin, they hold on to the skin, and then we lift the skin, and the skin stays in that newer position. As time goes by, which usually happens surprisingly over a few days, you get some collagen forming around the thread. And then as time goes by, you get more and more collagen, and the skin stays in that newer position. And that's why there's no point doing permanent non-absorbable threads, because you actually don't need them there after the first few months.
Yes. And it is really important for the patient, once they've had their procedure done, that they take care of their investment. And, you know, a lot of the time you might put a little bit of tape, or, you know, you explain to them what they have to do after. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. I usually tape. I use skin color tape, so it doesn't look so obvious in the area that we usually treat. A couple of reasons. First of all, to hold the thread in place, and the other thing is to remind people not to do too much expression with the face, not to open the mouth widely or laugh, widely, or chew hard food or anything like that, so they remember with the tape that they've had threads done. And I usually leave them in there for about 3 to 5 days. We do advise people not to do the movements I've mentioned before. Also, it's good the first couple of days to sleep on a bit elevated, so I usually give them like a travel pillow, and they sleep on that the first couple of days. We also advise them to avoid facial massage, scalp massage, or taking makeup quite vigorously. Just to be careful with the thread, with doing things around the face for the first week.
And that's because the collagen is forming around the thread.
Exactly.
Just to let patients understand that, and basically they understand that collagen is starting to form. Their own body is actually working to create a new platform, really, isn't it?
Exactly. So we'd like the skin to stay in that new or elevated position, so we don't want them to compromise that.
Yes. So, if a patient was interested in having and talking to you a bit more, you've got a beautiful clinic, and can you tell me what it's called and where it is and where they can come and book for a consultation?
It's called the Verve Cosmetic Clinic, and it's in Woollahra. And our phone number is 93632224. We do have a website, which is www.verve.cosmeticclinic.com.au.
And that's in Australia, is that right?
Yes, of course. It's in Sydney, Australia.
In Sydney, Australia. Fantastic. So what you would say if a patient was interested in coming and having a consultation, the first step was to phone and book in a consultation, and then you would see if they're a suitable candidate.
Yes, exactly. If they're suitable, which areas need to be treated, how many threads would they need, and then we can give them a cost.
Because the cost, it's considerably cheaper than a facelift.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
So if you're thinking a facelift might cost you $25,000, this would cost you possibly
about $4,000 to $6,000, depends how many threads you need.
Yeah, that's a considerable.
And you don't have the downtime. It's actually minimally invasive, no scarring, and a natural result as well, which is what a lot of people do need.
And I know, I've just come back from Italy, and I came and spoke to you about the new web technique that we're going to be using in Australia now, and you were fairly excited about it. So what's your opinion on this?
Well, it does sound like a great technique because there's more threads being used. And the way it's done as a web means that there's more collagen being created, and the platform is bigger for the skin lifting. And my special interest in this is because I do a lot of liposculpture, and we always get the odd people who have a little loose skin on the inner thighs or the arms, and other areas who are not interested in having surgery. So this is fantastic because they can just achieve the lift of doing the threading. So I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Well, it's been fantastic talking to you. And in just a few words, could you actually just mention to a patient that basically it is a combination of products, and encourage them?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, there's not going to be one treatment that does everything for the one patient. So people are always going to need more than one thing. They need to treat the texture of the skin with skincare and laser. They need to treat the wrinkles with Botox. They need to do a filling where they need volume, and they need to lift the skin. And lifting the skin has always been a challenge because people are opting away from doing facelifts and surgery, cutting the skin with downtime and scarring and side effects and unnatural results. So we've always looked for a newer technology that makes us achieve all of this at the same time without having the downtime and the cost and the side effects, and looking natural, and this threads are perfect for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, it's been really wonderful chatting with you and gaining all your experience that you've had for many, many years, and thank you very much.